Hey YouTube friends, I am back with another gardening vlog, and I know that a car isn't the ideal place for an intro, but I am actually sitting in front of our version of a Home Depot where I want to buy some containers and some soil mix, so I'm gonna take you along with me. And if I talk funny, it's because I just came back from the dentist and I am half numb. And no, I did not have a stroke, so don't worry. But this is all the time that I have to film, so we're just gonna have to roll with it. And just a little update, the last time I did anything in the garden, probably planted my strawberries, you saw that in the other video, was actually 10 days ago because it snowed again and it was so bad that the roads were closed. There was news of cars being snowed in and the garden just had a thick layer of snow all over, and it took days, even a week, for everything to melt, and then it started raining. So today is the first sunny, dry day in almost 2 weeks, and I'm gonna put everything on hold and go into the garden and sow all the things. So yeah, let's grab the containers that I need, and I'm gonna see you inside. So if you're curious, this is my favorite size of containers for growing potatoes. Not that I had particular success growing potatoes in containers, but I'm gonna grab about 6 of these just to complete my set. And I also want to get some soil mix for starting my zucchini, cucumber, squash, and stuff like that. I'm gonna start it in the mini tunnel, but still inside pots and trays. Okay, it's time to finally do some gardening. Gorgeous day today. Get my seeds. I've been really itching to sow my carrots and my beets because they're such a huge part of our diet, me and my husband's. And I'm gonna find them a place in this U-shaped bed. This one will be beets, that one will be carrots, and then I'll switch come July when I'll sow a second batch for an autumn harvest. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna get started and just chat with you, I guess. Before we jump into it, I want to show you the pests that I was talking about in the last vlog. The reason why I moved my strawberries from the ground into these containers, because they got attacked by these annoying things called millipos, I think. And I'm gonna try to film them really up close just to show you guys. So do you have anything like this in the garden? I bet you do. I bet they're everywhere, but they're not really eating anything else but strawberries in the garden. Isn't that weird? Yeah, so there's no getting rid of them, that's for sure. I found them because they were hiding under this plank that I left on the ground for so long. I haven't amended my soil at all this year, but it's so nice and fluffy. I'm really happy with it. This is what no dig really means. I mean, you saw that life teeming in there underneath that plank, and that's what all those critters are doing. They're fluffing my soil. So carrots don't need deep drills. The most important thing to get your carrots to germinate is humidity. They need to be moist at all times. And that's really hard to achieve sometimes. And that's why I don't get carrots in spring and I get carrots in summer, because during the summertime I'm so much more self-conscious about keeping them moist and well watered, whereas in spring I'm like, it rained, so I guess they're okay, but they're not. And sometimes I forget to use the trick that I'm going to show you with these planks. So I don't use it in spring and I don't get the same harvest I would normally get. Okay, so I have 3 varieties of carrots that I want to sow this spring, and these are my go-to varieties. They're probably a little boring, but they're reliable, and they make a decent-sized carrot. I have Napoli F1, Nantes 2, and these aren't as productive or reliable, but they're really fun, and they're called Purple Elite. And what I'm gonna do is sow a lot of seeds in these drills, as you'll see in just a moment. So when sowing carrots, you don't want to skimp on seeds because you'll be thinning them a lot. But trust me, it's better to thin than to have patchy germination. I'm going to show you up close in just a moment, but I'm going to sprinkle a whole lot of seeds, and then I'm going to thin them about 2 or 3 times before they mature. So let me tell you what I mean by thick sowing. I don't know if you can see the tiny seeds. They kind of look like soil at this point. Yeah. So when I said thick sowing, I meant it. Okay, this is probably a little bit excessive. Don't do that. You're gonna get a clump of carrots. Don't do that either. Thinning is my least favorite part of gardening, and that's not because I take mercy on those little plants and feel that they go to waste or something like that. No, it's just tedious. But I have to do it if I want carrots. Okay, now here comes the fun part. I'm going to cover all these drills with a little bit of soil, not too much. I'm going to water everything thoroughly, and then I'm going to cover each drill with one of these planks here. The purpose of the planks is to keep the moisture in, and then obviously we're going to keep on top of watering every day or even twice a day unless it rains. So let's hope it rains. But if not, I'm going to be here in the garden watering every day. Oh, and I forgot to mention that when you water these planks, these carrots, you don't take the planks off, you just water on top. And then you check underneath one, you just lift one every couple of days just to see how your carrots are sprouting. Okay, done. Now let's sow some beets. I usually start beets indoors where I get reliable germination rates, but the downside to that is that they do hate being in too much heat, which I can't control as well, and they do get kind of leggy and funky and weak sometimes, so I have mixed results with that, but I do get beets. Whereas when sowing them in the ground, it's 50-50. I get a lot of empty patches, and I don't like that as much. The varieties that I rely on usually are Detroit dark red, just a typical round beet, and then these lovely long ones called Cylindra. It's an open packet. I can show you the whole thing. And these yellow guys, Burpees Golden, and also a fun mix that I tried, and I got a lot of yellow and white ones that I really enjoyed in the oven, roasted in the oven, and we also juiced them. If you don't want to step on your beds, use a plank. Works like a charm. For some reason, this soil has a lot more clay in it than the other bed. You can even hear it almost. And if you want to get rid of the clay, just add some compost and some sand maybe. But also alternate carrots and alternate vegetables with long roots like daikon or something like that, because they'll dig into the soil and make it nice and fluffy and aerated, introduce all that nice oxygen. So a lot of the times one of these seeds will actually grow into multiple plants. So even if you do thin them, keep this in mind that you might get 2, 3, 4 plants out of one tiny seed, because they're actually seed clumps. It's like surfing. I'm surfing on a gardening board. Another thing with this soil from this bed is that it's really lumpy. So that's another negative when sowing seeds, any type of seeds really. They just have to go through a lot more obstacles to sprout. But I'm hoping I'm gonna get a nice harvest out of this bed. You know, I'm not gonna cover it with planks, but I am gonna try and cover it with fleece just to see if it makes any difference at all. Just maybe a couple of degrees in protection. Done. Oh, and by the way, is anyone else really messy when they garden? Because I just leave stuff everywhere and then I just have to clean it up and it's a pain. Okay, almost done. What I want to do next is actually take you on a tour and show you what sprouted in my garden. It's going to be a very short tour because not much has sprouted. So if your garden is nice and green, then rejoice, because in this part of the world, we're just looking at mud. Okay, so here's a really quick tour. Things that have sprouted. Broad beans. Can you see? We have broad beans. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. What else? What else? We have lots and lots of garlic, but you've seen the garlic already. We've also got some onions springing up. Also very tiny, but no parsnip though. Tiny baby onions. I'm pleased with that. Some more garlic. Look at them, neat little soldiers, ready to go to garlic war. And also a little bit of an onion over here. Yeah, so the alliums, they're fine. They're doing fine. They don't mind the cold. They don't mind the snow. I was worried because I didn't see any signs of peas, which are supposed to be in here and in there. But finally, they decided to come out. Somebody told them that the winter was over. Not so sure about that yet, but let's hope we don't get any more surprises this year. I've sown them as thickly as I could, but I didn't have enough seeds, so hopefully we're gonna have enough peas this year. And I have some more peas in there, and underneath this fleece I had my spinach. Oh, and the peas didn't sprout in the wheelbarrow, not yet at least. And look how nice the spinach is. Tons of spinach in here. We have a short season of spinach because it gets so warm so sudden. Some arugula that has the same problem. Some leaf lettuce. Another type of leaf lettuce that's doing great. And in the other beds, I've showed you what I've sown today, but also I've sown some bunching onions that didn't sprout yet. I planted the strawberries in these planters. The perennial onion The Welsh onion is doing just fantastic. We should eat a lot more of it. Parsley is very, very slow to germinate. No parsley to be found. We'll see what happens with that. And the glory of the garden is this contraption. That is the mini polytunnel, which is also doing great. Look at this green galore. Tons and tons of lettuces. What I'm going to do is use these as a cut and come again method and just leave them in place. And the other rogue ones, I'm just going to let them grow, and I have plenty of those. And I'm going to transplant them in a special part of my garden. I'm going to use them as head lettuces. I'm not going to open this whole thing, but if I zoom over there, there are plenty of seedlings that I have to thin, mainly kohlrabi, kale, a lot of radishes in the back end there, some mustards and mizuna, which is weird that I've sown. I don't usually sow these in the spring. But yeah, this looks amazing, don't you agree? So much green. After the entire garden is so much more depressing than this little bed. Okay, so that's it for today. If I'll have some more time tomorrow and this weekend, although it's the Easter in our parts of the world, I still need to sow some flowers. I need to sow some turnips maybe, and then obviously my potatoes, but that's going to be a whole nother video. And in the meantime, I have to deal with this construction site in the background and this big house here. You can see it from behind actually. This is the back of the house. We're having it renovated, so our hands are super full. I'm gonna get rid of these strawberries in here just because they're getting eaten by those creepy crawlies. And I'm gonna plant a ton of flowers, zinnias, cosmos, nasturtiums, all the pretty flowers. So stay tuned for that. Okay, time to end this video. I just want to say I'm so tired and it's time for dinner. And this oregano just looks incredible. So I'm gonna use some of that. Thanks so much again for watching this video. You know the drill, like, subscribe, and all the things. And I'm gonna see you in the next one with some really nice potatoes in that bed over there. Bye.